Hi, and welcome to my first YouTube video in a long time. You probably started following me years ago because you like my art. I've been inactive for a while and focused primarily on Instagram, but that's about to change. I'm Meike, an illustrator, author, and character designer. Most of you might know me from my children's book illustration course on Domestica, my book on fairy tale character design, or my Instagram channels. There will be some changes here on YouTube. Alongside videos and tutorials on art, character design, and illustration, I'll also be sharing more about my daily life as a freelancer. I'm thrilled to be back, and I'm kicking off my return with a new video. Today I'd like to take you through a typical day in my life as a freelance illustrator. We're currently enjoying a warm summer here in Germany, and during this time my work tends to slow down a bit. I usually like to start my day early, especially in the summer when it gets light so early. It makes getting up in the morning a lot easier. My morning routine is pretty consistent. I get up and the first thing I do is tend to my animals. To be honest, I usually do this in my pajamas, but today I've made an extra effort to get dressed for you. I think anyone who has chickens or rabbits knows this very well. Stepping out in your bathrobe first thing in the morning is just part of the routine. The rabbits are always eagerly waiting for their food and are particularly active in the morning. So I head to the coop first, open the door, fill up their bowls with fresh greens, and of course I give a few of them a little petting. Luckily, it's still nice and cool early in the morning, and the animals love this time because they can move around comfortably without getting too hot. I also make sure to refill their water with fresh supply. Then I move over to the chickens. I quickly clean out the droppings from the night and collect the eggs from the nesting boxes. If the garden is a bit messy, I'll do a quick sweep or use the garden hose to clean up a few things. However, I usually save the major cleaning for my lunch break. This morning routine takes no more than 15 minutes. After that, it's time to get to work. To work efficiently, I like to have something nice to drink nearby. I tend to forget to drink, and if I don't prepare something tasty and keep it right next to my workspace, I end up drinking far too little. In the summer, I love picking fresh mint from the garden and using some of my homegrown lemons. I slice them up and make myself a refreshing tea, which is best enjoyed ice cold during summer. Then it's up to my art studio. I think everyone who works freelance has their own routines. I personally like to start by checking my emails. Depending on how important they are and how much time I have, I spend the first half hour to an hour responding to them. I can't manage this every day though, because when projects need to be done quickly, emails sometimes take a backseat. At the moment, as I mentioned, it's summer break and things are a lot quieter. I have time for my own projects and there aren't as many emails to answer. As some of you might know, I run an Etsy shop where I sell my artwork on various products and prints. You can find everything there, from stickers and enamel pins to postcards and prints of my work. Part of my daily routine includes checking orders and preparing them for shipping. Since I don't have a lot of time for my shop outside of my client projects, packing orders doesn't take up my entire day. Depending on the number of orders, I usually spend 1 to 2 hours getting everything ready. As you can see, it's quite a bit of work because I take great care to ensure that each order is lovingly packaged. Many of my customers are fans of chickens, rabbits, or mermaids, and I always feel especially delighted when they tell me they don't want to throw away the packaging because it's so beautifully wrapped. Everything made of paper is securely packed in a clear plastic sleeve to ensure it isn't damaged during the long journey, since I also receive many international orders. Finally, everything is wrapped in my custom designed chicken paper and placed into sturdy, rigid mailers. I then add the postage and set the packages aside so I can take them to the mailbox on my next trip out. Well, after that, I focus on my own projects and get to be creative. At the moment, I'm working on two exciting things. First, I want to expand my portfolio with my own projects. Currently, my portfolio mostly consists of projects I've done for clients tailored to their specific needs. However, I also want to include projects that reflect my own vision. In the future, I'll be making videos about portfolios and sharing some tips with you. It's particularly important to tailor your portfolio to the position you're applying for. For example, if I'm applying for a character design position, my portfolio should mainly feature characters. A great idea is to pick an existing story and design characters for it. You might know me from my Domestica course where we worked on a similar project, just for children's books. For my first project, I decided to design characters from the TV series Ugly Betty. This series has been reinterpreted many times and is well known, making it a good choice for a portfolio. The characters are diverse and it allows me to showcase their personalities. I recommend selecting 2 to 3 different stories and designing a few characters for each, rather than creating unrelated individual characters. Imagine you are a recruiter looking for someone for a film. It's always more interesting to choose someone who can show a complete concept rather than someone who has only created a few individual characters. Therefore, my tip is to start with 2 to 3 stories and design 3 to 5 characters for each. Make sure you don't just draw one pose, but document the entire development process. I usually start this process with a lot of testing, for example, silhouettes and colors, to ensure the characters fit together. Often, I have so many drafts that I can't include everything in the portfolio. A good portfolio includes various facial expressions, poses, gestures, color palettes, and silhouettes, as well as some of the initial sketches. It's fascinating to see how the characters develop and understand the decision made along the way. Ugly Betty is perfect for a portfolio because the characters are so different. I've chosen 3 characters: the main character, Betty, the antagonist, and Betty's boss. These 3 provide a great contrast and allow for interesting silhouettes and a cohesive concept. Betty truly inspires me because she doesn't fit the typical beauty ideal, but stands out for her inner qualities. Do you have a favorite among my drafts? I usually start with rough black and white sketches and compare the characters with each other. It's important that the protagonist and the antagonist match and don't look like they come from different worlds. This process can sometimes take several weeks, especially when preparing for a portfolio. Now I'm taking a break. Depending on my workload, my break might be longer or shorter. Sometimes I skip it entirely if things are hectic. I still try to force myself to take breaks regularly, though tight deadlines can make that difficult. Currently things are quite calm due to the summer break, and I can take a bit more free time than usual. I usually prepare a small meal for lunch and sit in the garden for a while. When the weather is nice, I enjoy the sunshine and spend time with my animals. I like to use my breaks to do some training with my chickens too. Regular short training sessions, once or twice a day, can lead to quick progress. My chickens are quite talented. They can jump onto my arm on command. Initially, they needed treats for this, but now they do it without. Every few days, I also use my lunch break to vacuum the rabbit enclosure, which I do about every 3 days. When I'm not cleaning the enclosure, there are always other tasks in the garden to take care of. Whether it's weeding, mowing the lawn, or other chores, a property always requires work. After my lunch break, I head back to the studio. Sometimes I continue working on the same task as before the break. Other times I like to switch things up. It's important to have variety, and I keep my website and social media channels up to date. This is often a lot of work, Some Instagram reels I can quickly edit on my phone, but more complex videos, especially tutorials, I edit in Adobe Premiere Pro on my PC. I have to admit, I'm not 100% active every week. There are times when I post less. It used to be easier when we only had to post photos. Today, videos are much more time consuming, similar to YouTube videos, just shorter. As an artist, it's challenging to create and post content regularly. We have to paint pictures, which is often a lot of work, and that's harder than just filming ourselves. Are you also active on social networks with your art? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, after a workday that ends between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m., I take care of my animals and then have some time for myself. I hope you enjoyed my first vlog after a long time. I look forward to your suggestions and ideas for future videos in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see more of. Thank you!